Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Cat. I'm your host, Sarah.
And I'm Mark. Welcome to our special mega episode. Today, we're going to do something very useful for your English listening practice.
That's right. We know that understanding idioms is one of the hardest parts of learning English. Idioms are phrases where the meaning isn't obvious just by looking at the individual words.
Exactly. If I say break a leg, I don't want you to actually hurt yourself. I just mean good luck. But if you interpret it literally, it sounds quite terrible.
It does. So today, we're going to learn idioms through everyday scenes. We will act out a situation, like a morning routine, a day at the office, or a weekend trip. And then we will stop to explain the idioms we used.
Everyday scenes will help you because you can see how the idioms are used in real life situations.
We will speak slowly and clearly. This is B1 and B2 level English, so we will use vocabulary that helps you bridge the gap between intermediate and advanced English.
Are you ready to improve your fluency? Let's dive into our first scene.
Scene 1. The morning struggle. Context. Mark is having trouble waking up, and Sarah is trying to get him ready for the day. Good morning, Mark. The sun is up. It's time to hit the ground running.
Sarah, please, just 5 more minutes. I was burning the midnight oil last night, working on that project. I'm exhausted.
I know you worked late, but we have a busy schedule. You can't just stay in bed. Come on, rise and shine.
Okay, I'm up, but I feel a bit under the weather today. Maybe I should just call in sick.
You don't look sick. I think you are just tired. Once you have a coffee, you'll be fresh as a daisy.
You're probably right. I just need to get my act together. Give me 10 minutes.
Great. I'll make breakfast. It's time to face the music, Mark. The day has begun. Okay, listeners, let's pause there. That was a typical morning scene. Did you catch the idioms we used? Let's break them down one by one.
The first one you used, Sarah, was hit the ground running.
Yes, to hit the ground running, imagine a soldier jumping out of a helicopter or a runner starting a race. They don't walk, they run immediately. This means to start an activity with great energy and enthusiasm.
That is a great B2 level phrase. Next, I said I was burning the midnight oil. This means to stay awake late at night to work or study. Before electricity, people had to burn oil lamps to see at night.
Exactly. Then I used a very common phrase, rise and shine. This is a cheerful way to tell someone to wake up and get out of bed.
Then I complained that I was feeling under the weather today. This is essential for everyday English. This means to feel sick, usually just a little bit sick like a cold or a headache, not a serious disease.
And I promised you that after coffee, you would be fresh as a daisy. This means to feel healthy, energetic, and alert. Daisies are flowers that look very clean and bright.
Finally, you told me to face the music. This sounds scary. This means to accept the unpleasant consequences of your actions or simply to confront a difficult situation.
Excellent. Now, listeners, let's go to the second scene. And the context is Sarah and Mark are colleagues discussing a project at work that is going wrong.
Sarah, have you seen the new marketing report? I think we're in hot water.
Why? What happened? I thought the project was a piece of cake.
It was supposed to be easy, but the new manager decided to move the goalposts at the last minute. Now nothing is finished.
Oh no, that is frustrating. So, what is the plan? Do we have to go back to the drawing board?
I think so. We need to rethink the whole strategy. But honestly, I think the manager has bitten off more than he can chew.
I agree. He took on too many tasks, but we shouldn't rock the boat right now. If we complain, he might get angry.
You're right. Let's just keep our heads down and work. We can discuss it when the dust settles.
Good idea. Let's call it a day for now on the complaints and focus on solutions.
Okay, great. But that scene was a bit more tense. Let's look at the vocabulary of the workplace.
You started by saying we were in hot water. This means to be in trouble or in a difficult situation where you might be punished or criticized.
Then you said the project was a piece of cake. This means something very easy to do.
But then you mentioned the manager decided to move the goalposts. This comes from sports like football or soccer. This means to change the rules or requirements while someone is trying to do something, making it harder to succeed.
Then you asked if we needed to go back to the drawing board. This means to start over from the beginning because the first attempt failed.
We also use the phrase bite off more than you can chew. This means to try to do something that is too difficult or too big for you to handle.
And I warned us not to rock the boat. This means to say or do something that disrupts a stable situation or causes trouble.
Now come to the third scene. Imagine it is Friday afternoon. Sarah and Mark are trying to decide what to do for the weekend. Let's start.
So, Mark, it's finally Friday. Do you have any plans, or are you just gonna play it by ear?
I was thinking about going hiking, but the weather report is confusing. I'm really on the fence about it.
Well, if it rains, you can always take a rain check on the hiking.
That's true. What about you? Are you doing anything exciting?
Actually, my cousin is in town. We only see each other once in a blue moon, so I want to take her to a nice dinner.
That sounds lovely. Just make sure you don't spend too much. Restaurants in the city cost an arm and a leg.
I know, but I've been saving money, so I can afford to push the boat out a little bit.
Good for you. Enjoy your dinner. Okay, now, this scene was full of very common social idioms. The first one was play it by ear. This comes from music, playing without reading the notes. This means to decide what to do as the situation develops, rather than making a strict plan beforehand.
Then I said I was on the fence. Imagine sitting on a fence between two fields. You haven't chosen a side. This means to be undecided about something.
I suggested you take a rain check. This comes from baseball games. If it rained, they gave you a ticket to come back another day. This means to politely decline an offer now, but suggest you might accept it later.
You mentioned you see your cousin once in a blue moon. This means very rarely.
And I warned you that restaurants cost an arm and a leg. This means to be very expensive.
Finally, you said you would push the boat out. This is more common in British English, but understood elsewhere. This means to spend more money than usual to celebrate or have fun.
Okay, great. Now jump to the next scene. The scene is Mark has lost his wallet and is panicking. Sarah tries to help him. Let's go.
Sarah, I can't find my wallet anywhere. I've looked high and low. I'm going to lose my mind.
Calm down, Mark. Pull yourself together. When did you last have it?
I had it at the coffee shop. Oh no, I think I left it on the counter. I really dropped the ball on this one.
Okay, it's not the end of the world. Let's go back to the shop. Better late than never.
But what if someone stole it? That would be the last straw. I've had such a bad week already.
Don't jump to conclusions. Maybe a kind person found it. Look, is that the barista waving at us?
It is. He has it. Oh wow, that was a close shave.
See, you were worried about nothing. Every cloud has a silver lining.
Okay, great. That was stressful, but it was a great opportunity to use idioms about emotions and problems.
You told me you were going to lose my mind. This means to become crazy or very upset or angry.
And you told me to pull yourself together. This means to calm down and control your emotions.
You admitted that you dropped the ball. This is a sports idiom. If you drop the ball, you make a mistake. This means to make a mistake or fail to do your duty.
Then, I said losing the wallet would be the last straw. This comes from the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back. This means the final problem in a series of problems that makes you give up or get angry.
When we saw the barista, you said it was a close shave. This means a narrow escape from danger or trouble.
And you finished with a beautiful idiom, every cloud has a silver lining. This means every bad situation has some good aspect to it.
Excellent. Now, for the final part of our podcast, Mark is going to tell a short story. She will use many of the idioms we learned today.
Try to listen and identify them as I speak. Don't worry about understanding every word, just try to catch the idioms.
Okay, here goes the story. Last year, I decided to start a bakery. I wanted to hit the ground running, so I rented a big shop. But honestly, I bit off more than I could chew. The rent cost an arm and a leg, and I had to burn the midnight oil every night just to bake enough bread. I was feeling under the weather from all the stress. My partner and I didn't see eye to eye on the menu. He wanted to change everything, but I didn't want to rock the boat with our customers. One day, the oven broke. That was the last straw. I thought we would have to call it a day and close the shop. I was ready to go back to the drawing board. But then, a food critic visited. He said our croissants were out of this world. He wrote a review, and suddenly we were popular. It was a close shave, but we survived. It turns out every cloud has a silver lining.
That was a great story, Sarah. How many idioms did you count, listeners?
I used about 10 idioms there. If you didn't catch them all, rewind the podcast and listen again.
Before we finish, let's give our listeners some advice on how to study these.
Tip number 1, don't memorize lists. Learning a list of 100 idioms is boring and difficult. Instead, learn them in context like we did today. Learn idioms related to work, then idioms related to weather, etc.
Tip number 2, visualize the image. When you hear walking on eggshells, close your eyes. Imagine actually walking on fragile eggs. This helps the meaning stick in your brain.
Tip number 3, use them cautiously. Idioms are great, but don't use too many in one sentence or you will sound unnatural. Use 1 or 2 to spice up your English.
That brings us to the end of this mega episode. We hope this has been a piece of cake for you to understand.
Thank you for listening to Fluent Focus. Remember, learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Just keep going.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment telling us your favorite idiom.
Until next time, keep practicing.
Bye!